The season opens with Wednesday, bound in a dark and eerie place, surrounded by lifeless dolls. Her cold voice cuts through the silence as she tells us she is in the hands of a serial killer. He believes she will become his next victim. But Wednesday reveals a secret. She spent her entire summer mastering her supernatural ability, using a mysterious book filled with forbidden spells. 6 weeks ago, she began searching for the dark force that had haunted her since the age of 6, while she hunted a killer no one could catch, a predator too cunning, too elusive. With the help of her friend Enid, she obtained a bowling ball belonging to his last victim. The moment she touched it, a violent vision struck her, revealing the killer's hiding place. She went after him, but failed. He overpowered her, trapping her in this very cell. Yet Wednesday whispers, he thinks he controls her. Let him believe that lie. The killer enters, holding a doll shaped exactly like her, preparing to end her life. But suddenly Enid storms in, unleashing a furious attack. Blow after blow, she forces him to the ground. Wednesday seizes a blade, stepping closer to finish what was started. Moments later, we see her back in her room, the newspaper pinned to her wall. Serial killer caught with the help of a young girl. She sits at her typewriter, continuing her novel, when Morticia enters, urging her not to be late for her first day back at school. Wednesday apologizes. Her summer was consumed by her writing. Soon, the family sets off together. Morticia, Gomez, and Pugsley, who was about to begin his first year at Nevermore Academy. Gomez beams with pride at his son's emerging powers, though the family chauffeur Lurch glares with his mismatched eyes, one black, one violet, still bitter from the day Pugsley accidentally destroyed a car and cost him an eye. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a man anxiously waits. A woman rushes into his arms, but far away, a shadowy figure records their meeting. A black raven lands nearby, its eye glowing red. The spy grows uneasy. Soon, more ravens gather, covering his car. The red-eyed raven screeched, giving a silent order. Suddenly, the birds attack. The man flees to his car, calling a friend. "They've found me. If I don't make it, the evidence is in the cabin." But before he can escape, the car fills with ravens. Their attack is merciless. He dies in horror. Back at Nevermore, the Addams family arrives. Morticia asks Wednesday to look after her brother. Wednesday replies, with icy calm, that she always does. Her memories drift back to when she once locked Pugsley inside a coffin, sealing it with nails, her own way of keeping him safe. As they enter the academy, students swarm around Wednesday, snapping photos, begging for her autograph. She is unmoved. Fame is meaningless to her. Then Bianca arrives, warning the newcomers to stay away. She taunts Wednesday, reminding her that saving Nevermore from the monster last year made her famous. But Wednesday's silence speaks volumes. She despises recognition. Bianca smirks. The more you run from fame, the faster it chases you. Soon after, the new headmaster Barry greets Wednesday with respect, calling her the savior of the school. He tells her about the revival of an old tradition, the founder's burning ceremony. He wants her to serve as guest of honor, but Wednesday coldly declines. "I don't like speaking for the dead." She walks away. Later, she finally enters her dorm. The room is crowded with students celebrating. Her roommate Enid greets her warmly and quickly ushers everyone out. Wednesday notices Enid's shy farewell to Bruno, her eyes lingering a little too long. At 5:12, Enid hands Wednesday a gift, a black t-shirt, knowing her love for the color. Wednesday doesn't particularly like it, but accepts it politely. In return, she gives Enid a doll that eerily resembles her. Enid is taken aback, but accepts it with a nervous smile, thanking Wednesday. Enid then shares her ambitions for the year. She wants to become the captain of the dance team and join the secretive Nightshade Society. When she asks Wednesday about her own ambitions, Wednesday coldly replies that she plans to avoid people and focus on finishing her new novel. Suddenly, as Wednesday opens the storage closet in their room, an arrow shoots out, narrowly missing her, and embeds itself into a picture of her with the headmaster. On the photo, a message was scrawled, "Welcome, Wednesday." She realizes someone is watching her, attempting to use her psychic visions to uncover who it is. She fails. Black tears stream from her eyes. Enid notices and tries to question her, but Wednesday quickly wipes them away, brushing it off. Later, Wednesday heads downstairs to say goodbye to her parents, only to discover that Barry,
the new headmaster, has asked Morticia to stay at the school this year as head of the fundraising committee, especially after Xavier's mother left the academy with her son for Switzerland. Wednesday is stunned that Xavier won't be with her this year. Barry takes Morticia to a residence, telling her she may spend the night with Gomez before deciding if she'll remain for the year. Wednesday questions why her mother wants to stay. Morticia admits she fears for her daughter, especially without Goody as her spiritual guide. Her presence, she insists, could help until a new guide reveals themselves. But Wednesday pushes back. She tells her mother that she walks the path of the ravens. Her destiny is different from Morticia's, which is the dove. Morticia shocks her by admitting she once had an encounter with the ravens. Wednesday coldly reminds her that she must be speaking of Aunt Ophelia. She insists her mother focus on caring for Pugsley and not on her. Morticia, shaken, confesses to Gomez that Wednesday is hiding too many secrets and fears history may repeat itself. Wandering into the forest, Wednesday notices police cars and an ambulance. The body of journalist Carl is being taken away. Officers are baffled at his horrific death. They only knew he was spying on his boss and his boss's lover, but that hardly explains the gruesome scene. In the shadows, Wednesday spots someone fleeing through the trees. With precision, she tackles him. It's Detective Galpin. He admits the victim was his friend Carl, who was working a case with him. Carl stumbled upon something that could threaten the outcasts at Nevermore. Galpin pleads for her help, reminding her that his son Tyler is one of them, even if his actions were unforgivable. Wednesday coldly states that Tyler was a monster from the beginning. Galpin presses on, saying he needs her abilities to uncover the danger. Wednesday remains silent and turns away, but Galpin calls after her, warning her she didn't come to the crime scene by accident. Something drew her here. If she changes her mind, she knows where to find him. Before she leaves, he cautions her about the ravens always watching. That night, a student named Jax gathered the newcomers around a fire and told them the legend of the skull tree. He spoke of a brilliant boy with a weak heart who spent his days in the hospital, sketching strange machines, dreaming of building them one day. When doctors told him he had only months to live, he designed a mechanical heart for himself. The transplant worked, but changed him forever. Stripped of emotions, consumed only by ambition, he was hailed as a genius when he entered Nevermore. Yet his inventions grew darker and more dangerous. One night, his obsession cost him his life. An experiment exploded, killing him instantly. According to legend, his body was buried beneath the skull tree, hidden deep in a terrifying place where only the brave dare to venture. As Jax finishes, ambition flickers across Pugsley's face. It's clear he longs to find it. Meanwhile, Barry summons Bianca to his office. He praises her abilities, asking if she has ambitions for the future. When she hesitates, he offers her a place on the fundraising committee. Bianca declines, but Barry reminds her she is at Nevermore on a scholarship. With the school facing financial trouble, her scholarship could vanish unless she cooperates. Realizing the threat, Bianca reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Wednesday retreated to the music room, her fingers drifting across the keys, pouring out her pain and sorrow through every note. Suddenly, the door opened. It was Miss Capri, the new music teacher. She introduced herself gently, telling Wednesday she could sense that she played to release the torment buried deep inside. But Wednesday coldly and defiantly replied that she didn't need lessons from anyone, then walked out, leaving Capri behind. That night, Wednesday was stunned to find a message from Xavier. He told her he'd tried calling her on the phone he gave her, but got no answer. That's when she remembered she had thrown it into the water. Along with the message came one of Xavier's haunting paintings, a raven with glowing red eyes perched atop a grave. He explained that this vision had appeared to him suddenly. He didn't know what it meant, only that the raven was tied to her. Just then, Wednesday noticed something strange on her desk. She opened the drawer.
Her manuscript was gone. In its place lay her photo, eyes ripped out and a chilling note. I am the one born of fire. Tonight, at the Founders' burning, your book will turn to ash.
Heart-pounding, she rushed to the festival. A group of students brushed past her, slipping a razor-filled envelope into her pocket. The blades cut her hand as she opened it, revealing another cryptic message. If you wish to save your story, enter the statue. Without hesitation, she slipped beneath the massive monument, crawling through until at last, there it was, her manuscript. At that exact moment, Barry addressed the crowd, igniting the statue with a blaze. Flames roared, surrounding her, but Wednesday walked through the inferno with unshaken resolve, clutching her book. She emerged just as the monument collapsed in a shower of sparks. Barry, smiling before the gathered students, praised her courage. He unveiled a massive painting depicting Wednesday and her friends as saviors of the school. Then he handed her the stage. Wednesday faced the crowd, her voice steady. "The battle with evil is far from over. You still have much to face, much to destroy." The students erupted in applause, only to watch in shock as she set fire to the portrait itself. Far away, Eugene crept toward the skull tree. Pressing his ear to the bark, he listened for the heartbeat of the legendary boy. Suddenly, a raven burst forth, convulsing with surges of electricity. From beneath the ground, corpse clawed its way out, ghastly, terrifying. But Eugene only smiled. Back in her room, Enid touched Wednesday's shoulder. In that instant, Wednesday was struck by a violent vision. Black tears streamed down her face as her body trembled, and she collapsed into a nightmarish realm of graves, surrounded by crows. She froze in horror at a headstone. Enid, her best friend, emerged, monstrous and furious, hissing that her death was Wednesday's fault. Wednesday jolted awake, trembling violently, tears of darkness staining her cheeks. Her mother rushed in, horrified, but reassured her that Enid was alive. Later, in their room alone, Morticia explained the truth. The black tears were the cost of misusing her gift. She handed Wednesday a spell book, the very one from Goody Addams, and urged her to be patient. "In time, a new guide will appear. You must not force your destiny." But Wednesday refused to listen. She stormed out, heading for Gelpin's house. The door was ajar. She pushed it open and froze. Sheriff Gelpin was dead, his eyes gouged out, just like Carl. Then came the sound. Wings. Dozens of crows poured from his mouth, filling the air, smashing through the window to escape. As she approached, it suddenly spread its wings, flying out of the room and vanishing into the night. She rushed toward the door, but before she could escape, the flashing lights of police cars lit up the night. Officers stormed in, and before she could react, cold steel handcuffs snapped around her wrists. At the police station, the stern chief of police glared across the desk. "What were you doing in Gelpin's house at such a late hour?" she demanded. Wednesday, unflinching, replied coldly, "He asked me to visit." But the chief shot back. "Carl called Gelpin before he died, the same way Gelpin was killed. Both of them dead with their eyes gouged out. Don't you find that strange?" She leaned in closer. "We searched Gelpin's home. His phone is missing. Do you know anything about that?" Before Wednesday could answer, the door swung open. Gomez Addams entered, his presence filling the room. With a charming smile, he introduced himself. "I'm her lawyer. If you wish to interrogate my daughter, you'll need to file a formal request with the court." Without waiting for permission, he guided Wednesday out of the station. On the next morning, Eugene confronted Pugsley as he emerged from the bee shack. Suspicion was etched on his face. "Where were you last night during the ceremony, and what were you doing in my hive?" But still he offered the monster honey. The beast spat it back violently, spraying it over them. Meanwhile, Wednesday returned to her dorm, confiding in Thing. Her voice carried a rare hint of worry. "My powers are weakening. I saw a vision, Enid's death, and somehow it will be my fault." Later, Wednesday entered her room only to find Enid's phone buzzing with a new message. The stalker had sent her another warning. Her eyes narrowed. She ordered Enid to call the number immediately. The truth hit them like a dagger. The phone belonged to Gelpin. A saved voicemail proved it. The murderer was using his phone. Enid, pale with fear, lashed out. "You've dragged me into this. You're always pulling me into danger. If I get accused of Gelpin's murder, this is on you." Terrified, Enid stormed out to attend her leadership classes, leaving Wednesday behind with her storm of thoughts. She, meanwhile, confronted Barry, who introduced her to a stern new teacher, Orloff. She wasted no time. "Do you have any students here who can control birds?" Orloff shook his head. "No, not anymore. The last one was 10 years ago." Meanwhile, Wednesday disguised herself as Enid, taking her unused leadership class ticket. She fooled the instructor, convincing him to drive her where she wanted to go. Inside, she met Dr. Fairbon, the woman in charge of Tyler's case. Her eyes narrowed as if she'd been expecting Wednesday all along.
Tyler spoke of you. They walk down the hallway toward his cell. Before she enters, Dr. Fairbairn warns her that she'll be observing the meeting, and if she senses any danger, she will press the red button. Inside the dim cell, Tyler lifts his head as soon as she sees Wednesday. His eyes burn with a strange recognition. "I knew you would come," he says, his voice heavy with restrained fury. He suddenly lunges toward her, but the guard triggers the restraints, yanking him back and holding him still. Wednesday stands her ground and delivers the news with cold precision. Tyler's father is dead, killed the night before, in the exact same way that Carl was killed.
She demands to know if he had anything to do with it. Tyler, chained and furious, denies everything, reminding her that he's locked away and knows nothing of the outside world. Realizing she won't get answers, Wednesday turns to leave, but Tyler stops her with a chilling message. He orders her to tell Enid that he'll finish her the moment he sees her, and that his body transforming into the beast, but once again the guard restrains him.
Meanwhile, Enid is in her room with her boyfriend Bruno, casually introducing him to Yoko and showing him around. But something begins to go terribly wrong. Bruno convulses strangely, and when Yoko tries to investigate, an unseen force slams the lid of a trunk shut, trapping him inside. Elsewhere, Bianca meets with Barry in his office. He asks if she succeeded in persuading Morticia to join the fundraiser. Bianca admits she hasn't and grows tired of being manipulated. She tries to use her siren powers on him to force him back, but fails. Barry, far stronger, towers over her and reminds her he could crush her instantly if he wished. He warns her to finish her task quickly or face death. That night, Enid returns to her room only to find Yoko trapped inside the trunk, desperately pointing toward the door. Enid realizes too late that something is wrong. Her phone suddenly rings. Wednesday answers, and the sinister voice on the other end reveals himself. He has kidnapped Enid. The game has begun. Wednesday has 30 minutes to save her friend, or she dies. The trail leads her to discover that Enid and Bruno are bound in chains inside the abandoned Iago Tower. Orders Yoko to free them quickly, but Yoko unknowingly triggers a trap. Blades descend from the ceiling, one striking her down and immobilizing her. The gears turn, and the blades begin to lower toward Enid and Bruno. Wednesday races across the chamber, searching for a solution. She finds a typewriter with a sheet of paper containing a riddle. She must solve it to stop the trap. She frantically searches through the books around her, the blades inching closer with every second. At the last moment, she types the correct answer. The blades freeze, halting just before they pierce her friends. Then, out of nowhere, a girl materializes from the shadows. The very same girl Wednesday first encountered upon arriving at the academy. The one who admired her powers. Her ability? Invisibility. With a mischievous smile, she congratulates Wednesday. After all, today is none other than the day of pranks.
Agnes finally reveals the truth. Everything that happened was just an elaborate prank. Today, after all, is the day of pranks. She introduces herself properly to Wednesday, confessing that she's one of her biggest admirers. Agnes hopes Wednesday was impressed by her powers, because one day she dreams of being just like her. Wednesday immediately realizes Agnes is behind everything, and she lashes out, accusing her of killing Carl and Galpin. Agnes, unfazed, denies any connection to the murders. She admits only that she took Galpin's phone to continue the prank. She even hands the phone back to Wednesday, hoping it will help her find the real killer. Wednesday accepts it in silence and leaves with her friends. That night, Bianca pays Morticia a visit. She uses her siren power to manipulate her into calling her mother and forcing her to donate the largest possible sum to the school fundraiser. Later, Wednesday returns to her room, only to find Judy's book missing. She suspects her mother took it. Meanwhile, a teacher drives along the forest road. Suddenly, the beast appears before his car. He swerves, crashing into it, knocking him to the ground and devouring him. Back at the academy, Wednesday sneaks into her mother's quarters to search for the missing book, but finds nothing. Morticia appears, already expecting her daughter's intrusion. Calmly, she tells Wednesday she knew she would come, and that the book isn't hidden in any chest. Wednesday confesses she had a vision, a cemetery filled with ravens, a crimson-eyed raven perched on Enid's grave. In the vision, Enid herself appeared, blaming Wednesday for her death. Wednesday explains that this raven is the same one responsible for killing both Carl and Galpin. She insists these aren't random attacks. Someone who controls
kills birds is behind it, and she must uncover their identity before they kill Enid. She begs for the book, certain it holds the answers, but Morticia refuses. Next day, Wednesday examines Galvin's phone for clues. Meanwhile, Enid is distracted, choosing outfits for the upcoming camping trip. Elsewhere, Ajax and Eugene manage to recapture the monster, locking it back inside the cabin. This time, they notice its brain beginning to reform, although neither understands why. At the same time, Wednesday reluctantly agrees to accept Agnes's help. She is struck by her new ally's skill. Agnes can even change her appearance into others, matching any description given. Agnes also has items she collected from Galvin's home. Among them, Wednesday discovers a photograph of a specific cabin, labeled 2015. Checking the map, she locates the site and realizes it lies dangerously close to the area where the school plans to camp that very night. Determined, she heads for the camp. There, she is stunned to find her brother lugging a black coffin. She demands to know what's inside. He casually replies that it's just filled with fireworks, but when the coffin shakes, Wednesday realizes the truth. He's hiding the monster inside. Ajax kicks the coffin to silence it. At that very moment, the scout leader, Ron, steps forward, confronting Barry. He reveals shocking news. The land they're camping on belongs to him, and he has the papers to prove it. Barry bristles, and the argument begins. He confronts them, insisting that he has more right to the camp's land than they do. At that moment, Wednesday steps in, declaring that they will settle it with a competition between her team and the scouts. Whoever wins gets to keep the land. The idea excites both sides, and they agree. The contest begins. Each team must protect their egg from the other, and the first to place the egg atop the tower will claim victory. At first, the scouts manage to snatch the egg from Nevermore's team, but Wednesday reacts quickly, giving direct orders to Zhang to initiate the plan they had devised earlier. Zhang signals to Eugene, who unleashes his bees to counter the scout's smoke attack. Amid the chaos, Wednesday fights her way through and seizes the egg. Just as one of the scouts climbs the tower with their own egg, Wednesday races ahead and manages to place hers on the tower at the very last second. Victory belongs to Wednesday. That night, she slips away from camp and heads to cabin 15, searching for any clue that might lead her closer to the killer. Hidden inside, she finds a secret space covered with photos of many outcasts who had died over the years. On the wall, the name Louise is scrawled. She presses her hand against it, hoping for a vision that could reveal the truth, but nothing comes. Her powers are too weak. Determined, she resolves to reclaim the Book of Judy at any cost. Through the window, a raven watches her carefully. Later, Wednesday goes to her mother one last time, begging for the book. Morticia refuses again, so Wednesday challenges her to a duel in the forest. Morticia accepts. At the same time, the monster ambushes the scout leader, tearing into his skull. Horrified, the other scouts flee in terror. Meanwhile, Wednesday and her mother's duel begins, with Sang acting as referee. The monster prowls through the forest until it comes upon Wednesday and her mother locked in combat. Morticia gains the upper hand and wins the duel, but before the monster can lunge at her, Wednesday hurls her sword with deadly precision. The blade pierces the creature's head, pinning it to a tree. The police arrive in just time, restraining the monster and taking it away. In that moment, Wednesday glimpses a mysterious figure with a raven perched on his shoulder. Then, just as suddenly, he vanishes. Back in her room, she begins piecing together all the evidence. Next day, Weirben greets Marilyn at the hospital, asking her to visit her son Tyler and help him cure him. Marilyn agrees, but the moment Tyler sees her, he transforms into the monster and strangles her. Gasping, she apologizes and promises to make up for everything. Tyler calms down, releases her, and throws her to the ground. Meanwhile, Wednesday searches the graveyard for the remains of the fallen outcasts. To her surprise, her grandmother appears, revealing that Morticia herself had invited her to the fundraising gala. Curious, the grandmother asks why Wednesday is so intent on digging through the graves. Wednesday explains the case she's investigating and how Morticia refuses to hand over the Book of Judy.
Suddenly, a raven swoops in, snatching away Wednesday's notes and flying off. She chases it desperately, but fails to catch it. Frustrated, she asks her grandmother to buy the entire graveyard so she can continue her search without restriction. Loving her granddaughter dearly, the grandmother agrees. When Wednesday returns to her room, she finds Agnes waiting. Wednesday tells her that the person controlling the birds now knows they are hunting him, and time is running out. If they don't stop him soon, Enid will die. But he goes to see her Uncle Fester, asking him to infiltrate the institution and search for someone named Louise. She warns him that Louise could be a patient, a doctor, or even a staff member, and that Weirben must not know of his mission.
Fester reassures her, boasting that he's an expert at operations like this. Before heading to the asylum, Fester checks into a hotel, but quickly causes chaos among the guests. The manager calls the police, who arrest him. At the station, Fester begins acting completely insane. Meanwhile, Wednesday is with her mother when her grandmother arrives, handing over the property deeds for the cemetery she bought just for Wednesday. Morticia is clearly displeased with what's happening, insisting that she needs a private word with her mother. Once Wednesday leaves, Morticia presses her mother to explain what's really going on between her and Wednesday, but the grandmother refuses, advising Morticia to stop smothering her daughter, warning her that if she keeps trying to control everything, Wednesday will only drift further away. Then, in a surprising twist, the grandmother reveals she's willing to make a donation to the school on one condition: Morticia must return the Book of Judy to Wednesday. Morticia refuses, and in defiance, she throws the book into the fire. At the asylum, Fester's plan unfolds perfectly.
Shadowy figure controlling the crows stands high above, watching Nevermore Academy from a distance. He sees Wednesday alongside Agnes. Agnes explains that August, the head doctor at the asylum, once worked as a teacher at Nevermore before suffering a nervous breakdown that shattered his mind. Wednesday quickly realizes August might be the key to finding Louise. She hurries to Xavier, asking him to deliver an urgent message to Fester: search the asylum for August, because he's the one who will lead him to Louise.
While this unfolds, Enid approaches Wednesday, voicing her hurt over how distant Wednesday has been lately. Before Wednesday can respond, she notices the academy grounds filling with crows. Fear tightens in her chest. This must be the moment Enid is destined to die. Wednesday urges her to hide, but before anyone can act, the Crowmaster gives his command. A deafening storm of crows descends upon the students, plunging the academy into chaos. One crow seizes Xavier, lifting him high into the air. Just as he's about to be dashed to his death, Barry hurls a blazing fireball that forces the crow to release him. Enid rushes forward at the last second, catching Xavier before he hits the ground. At that very moment, Wednesday spots the Crowmaster fleeing. She bolts after him, determined to unmask him. But before she can catch him, the mysterious figure vanishes into thin air, leaving behind only his cloak.
Later, she secretly observes Xavier being loaded into Weem's car, realizing this is her chance. If Xavier is going to the asylum, he can deliver her message to Fester. Just then, Morticia confronts her, demanding to know why she sent Fester into such a dangerous place. Wednesday explains that he's helping her with her investigation, and she cannot allow Enid to die because of her inaction. Morticia warns her about the chaos the crows have caused, reminding her how close Xavier came to death. She insists that if Wednesday continues down this reckless path, things will spiral out of control. Inside the asylum, Fester is shocked when Xavier suddenly arrives. Xavier delivers Wednesday's urgent message: find August, because he's the one who can lead them to Louise. Fester wastes no time. He searches through the asylum until he finally locates August, sitting silently and alone, broken and withdrawn. Approaching him, Fester asks the question that hangs over everything: I'm looking for Louise. Do you know where she is?
Inside the asylum, Fester uses the parrot perched on August's shoulder to force out the truth. He shocks August with electricity until the bird blurts out a number. Fester instantly realizes this number must be connected to Louise. Meanwhile, Wednesday seeks out Orloff, asking if he knows anything about a teacher named August. He admits he doesn't recall much, only that August once had a daughter. Wednesday immediately wonders if her name was Louise, but Orloff shakes his head, unable to remember. With no more leads, Wednesday decides she must enter the asylum herself. At the same time, Fester guides August back to his room. On the way, August points shakily toward the maintenance room, repeating the name Louise again and again. Puzzled but determined, Fester escorts him to safety before circling back toward the maintenance room. But suddenly, Weems arrives with armed guards. They capture Fester on the spot. Dragged into an interrogation chamber, Fester finds himself face to face with Weems and the monster captured earlier at Nevermore. The beast snarls, chained yet menacing. Weems threatens to unleash it unless Fester tells her the truth. Watching from the shadows, Xavier witnesses this horrifying scene and rushes back to warn Wednesday. She instructs him to stay close to Fester inside the asylum until she finds a way in.
Later, Wednesday confides in Agnes, revealing that Gabrielle will soon be heading to the asylum to conduct a music therapy session. This, she insists, is their chance. They'll sneak inside with her, free Fester, and finally uncover Louise's location. Agnes agrees, and Wednesday carefully lays out the plan. plan. Just then, Enid arrives, demanding to know her role. Afraid of hurting her friend, Wednesday reluctantly includes her, assigning her to stay outside as lookout. If anything goes wrong, Enid must alert the police immediately. The plan unfolds. Wednesday hides inside Gabrielle's trunk while Agnes and Enid wait near the asylum gates. As Gabrielle's car pulls up, Agnes uses her stealth to slip inside, sneaking into a bathroom where she sets off fireworks to distract the guards before they can search the car. Amid the chaos, Wednesday slips out unnoticed. Inside, the same kind woman who once helped Fester smuggles Wednesday in a food cart, rolling her straight toward his cell. Along the way, Wednesday steals a guard's ID badge, then uses it to unlock Fester's cell. Together, they set off to find Luis. But the monster imprisoned with Fester breaks free, slaughtering guards as they drag Marilyn toward her cell. Taking advantage of the carnage, Marilyn escapes. Wednesday is shocked to see her alive, but pushes the thought aside. Rescuing Fester comes first.
Meanwhile, chaos erupts. Weems and Gabrielle hear the commotion as guards rush in with urgent reports. Weems coldly orders them to activate the emergency protocol. Fester and Wednesday reach the maintenance room. Using the number provided by the parrot, Fester cracks the lock. Inside, they discover a hidden door leading down a stairwell. On the wall above it, strange words are scrawled. Reading them, Wednesday makes a chilling discovery. Louise isn't a person at all, but the acronym for a secret experiment conducted on patients. Descending into the underground cells, they find dozens of outcasts still alive, their deaths faked by the asylum to conceal horrific experiments. Wednesday realizes now why Galpin feared for his son. He knew the asylum might subject him to the same fate. Suddenly, the Crow Master appears, accompanied by his blood-eyed raven. To Wednesday's horror, he unmasks as none other than Weems' assistant. The greater shock. She is August's daughter. She explains coldly that her father's experiments aim to harness Outcast's powers for human use, and she herself is living proof of his success. Born human, she now wields full control over birds thanks to his work.
Fester unleashes a powerful shock at her, but the surge triggers a massive explosion that plunges the entire asylum into darkness. Outside, Agnes and Enid witness the blast. Enid immediately calls the police. Inside, chaos reigns. Cell doors spring open. Freed outcasts swarm, chasing August's daughter in fury for the suffering she inflicted on them. Nearby, Marilyn finds her son Tyler chained. She frees him, weeping as she embraces him, insisting she came to save him. But Tyler's eyes blaze with fury. He accuses her of enslaving him, forcing him to carry out her twisted desires. Realization dawns on Marilyn too late. Tyler wants her dead. In desperation, she blurts out that Wednesday is here in the asylum, trying to redirect his wrath. Tyler sneers, promising he'll destroy Wednesday, but not before he kills his mother. Marilyn flees in terror, but Tyler transforms fully into the Hyde and rips her apart.
His rampage doesn't stop there. He storms through the asylum, tearing through guards, then bursts into Weems' office. The beast slaughters her without hesitation, then turns on August, ending his life too. Elsewhere, Wednesday shields the rescued prisoner, only to be confronted by Tyler himself, and stands her ground. Tyler hurls her through a window with brutal force. She crashes to the ground, bleeding heavily. Police finally arrive, opening fire on the monster, but their bullets bounce off uselessly. Tyler slaughters many officers before bolting into the forest. Xavier rushes to Wednesday's side, his heart racing as he finds her lying in a pool of blood. He cradles her, panic etched across his face, desperate to know if she'll survive. And so, the first part of Season 2 comes to a shocking, bloody close. The story continues in Part 2.